Hello and welcome to our session on the intelligent intranet. I'm Debjani Mitra. I'm a program manager on the SharePoint team, and I'm here with my colleague, Andy Hayon.
Hi, I'm Andy Hayon, and I work in product management for SharePoint experiences at Microsoft, focused on our intranet offerings. And I'm excited to join Debjani to share both what's available to you currently and some of the new capabilities we're working on to power your intelligent intranets. Let's start with some quick context. Our businesses and organizations continue to evolve at a rapid pace, driven by evolving customer and employee needs, competitive pressures, market dynamics, and external forces, particularly this year. Throughout all of this change, having a clear and effective intranet strategy has never been more critical. Your intranet has a direct impact on employee productivity, collaboration across your organization, and overall employee engagement. In one recent study, 90% of executives understood the importance of employee engagement to productivity and business results, and they looked to their intranet as one of the key ways to help them achieve these outcomes. Intranets remain a mission-critical tool of digital transformation with our customers. They are one of the leading workloads in Microsoft 365. One critical reason is how well intranets bring together multiple pieces of information and content, processes and people to empower organizations. SharePoint, Yammer, Stream, and Microsoft 365 overall make that much easier with industry-leading time to value across web, mobile, and desktop experiences. Many organizations have realized that there are key trends and changes in both the way we are working and the expectations that employees have. Companies are leveraging the increases in AI to make content more discoverable and relevant. They're using technology to reach their ever more diverse and remote workforces, and creating value and competitive advantage in the process. Employee expectations have also changed. Employees expect personalized experiences that give them relevant and targeted information quickly and easily in order to be productive and gain insights. And they want technology to help them build social connections with peers and leaderships, just as they do in their personal lives. And they want it to work great across the range of devices that they use. The intelligent intranet can help provide all of that and more for your organizations. One innovator who has leveraged these trends to reimagine their intranet experience is the Velux Group. With over 27 manufacturing sites spread across 10 countries and sales operations in 40 countries, they've turned their classic intranet into a new content and communications platform that enables them to connect employees across geographies and across organizational boundaries. Their new intranet, called Velux One, built on SharePoint and Microsoft 365, has helped them drive their business outcomes and their employee engagement. With this context set, in this session, we'll focus on 3 areas of how investing in your intelligent intranet can benefit you and your organizations by enabling effective communications across the organization, by connecting employees with relevant information and knowledge, and by delivering a platform to drive high employee engagement. Throughout this session, we're going to show some of what we call the art of the possible with what you can create today with SharePoint and Microsoft 365. We'll also share some new capabilities we're working on and will be delivering. Let's start and look at each of these 3 areas in more detail. And so let me hand back off to Debjani, who will take us through the first of these around communicating effectively across the organization.
Thanks, Andy. Let's first look at this section on communicating effectively across your organization. SharePoint's authoring technology helps you create pages and news posts really easily. SharePoint's web parts help you bring in dynamic content from across M365 and beyond. And with SharePoint, you can tell your stories in a really visually compelling way, particularly with stock images, which is a latest offering that I'm really excited to demo to you in a few minutes. And though page authoring lets you be creative and visually exciting, it also helps you enforce a level of consistency and corporate identity across your intranet through page templates and organization assets. So let's jump in and see page authoring in a demo. So here I am on a leadership connection site at Contoso. This is where Contoso's leaders or their delegates publish news for the company to read. In this scenario, I'm a member of the corporate communications team, and I'd like to publish a news post announcing a manager training for the company. So all I need to do is click on New and then say News Post. Now here, SharePoint provides 3 out-of-the-box page templates I can pick from, but the corporate communications team has also been able to curate a few custom templates. And I can click in to see what each of these templates entails right here. I'd like to introduce a new capability here as well. Notice the ... next to each template. When you click here, it actually lets you set a template as the default for the site, and that can be a custom template or an out-of-the-box template provided by SharePoint. What that means is that when somebody is creating a new page or news post on this site and they have not selected one of these templates, then that is the default template they start from. So in this scenario, I'm going to announce a new training for managers at the company. So let's select the training and workshops template and say create post. I have my new post here with a layout already there, placeholder content already present. So let's jump in and start fleshing this out. First, I'm going to name my news post. Let's say training announcement. Managing your teams remotely. And I also want to change the banner image here, so I can click on change image. Now SharePoint provides a number of different sources from where I can pull my images. The first here is stock images. This is the one I mentioned earlier. Microsoft has recently acquired thousands of beautiful high quality images for you to use entirely royalty free in your intranet. Of course, you can use web search. You can use organization assets. These are approved assets from your organization that all authors of pages or news posts can leverage. And you can upload images from OneDrive, from this site, from your computer, or from a link. In this case, we'll use stock images. So I'll go in here and search for team. Let's see, and this is a nice abstract image I can use, so I'll go with this. And select that. Great, and I actually also want to change the banner layout, so I can click on Edit Web Part and select the color block option. Great. Now, this is where the text of this news post goes. I've already drafted it up in a Word document, so all I need to do is copy and paste it in here. I can go to Word, here's that text, just copy it and paste it right in. And as you can see, the formatting carried right over. Next, I actually have an image in my file browser that I'd like to bring in as well. So I can open up my file browser and drag and drop that image onto this page. Now notice that this generates an image web part for itself, which is great because now I can easily move it around on this page. So actually what I'm going to do is go ahead and make this a 1/3 right section. And then I can simply drag this image and drop it in here. Super intuitive. And then if I wanted to, I could resize this image or crop it to my liking as well, but I'll leave it as it is for now. This template came with contacts. This looks good. And finally, I want to provide some additional resources for the readers of this news post. To do that, I'm going to use our wiki linking capability. So all I need to do is use the standard wiki linking syntax, which is open brackets, search for what I'm looking for. This intelligently suggests articles to me. And just like that, that article is linked in this one. I can do this again. Great. Now the content of this news post is ready to go, but I don't actually want to publish it till the CEO has announced this manager training opportunity at her upcoming town hall on October 1st. This is where you can leverage our page scheduling capability. Open the page details panel. And you can see that there is an option to turn scheduling on. Toggle this on, give it a date, October 1st. Give it a time, 11 a.m. And notice that the post news button changed to say schedule. So when I click this news post will be scheduled to publish to go live concurrently with the announcement being made. Before I hit schedule though, there's one other thing I want to take care of. Recall that this training opportunity is for managers at the company. So I want to make sure that this news post reaches managers, not everyone else. To do that, I can audience target this news post. There is an audience property right here, and I can enter the O365 group for managers at Contoso. Great. And now this post is really ready to go. So I can click on schedule, and SharePoint lets me know that this news post has been scheduled to publish at the date and time that I specified. Creating content is the first step. The next is to make sure that content gets to the right people at the right time. SharePoint helps you audience target content, as you just saw. And in the next few minutes, I'm actually going to give you a further demo of how audience targeting works within SharePoint. We also know that news in your organization comes from many different sources, and some of these sources are authoritative, what we call organization news. With SharePoint, you can designate some sites in your intranet to be authoritative sources of news. When you do that, when a news is published to those sites, it is distributed broadly to all employees' news feeds. And no matter where those news posts show up, whether it be in the news feeds or in web parts across the intranet, they have a special visual highlighting that indicates that these are authoritative news. You can share SharePoint news through many different channels, including Teams, Yammer, and Outlook. And at the end, you can leverage site analytics to learn about who's viewing your news post, when, and on what devices. So now let's jump into a demo that looks at how news distribution can work. Okay, so here I am on the Contoso news site. This is a site where all employees at the company can come to learn about news from across the intranet. Most people coming to this site are visitors on the site. They can't edit or create content, they come to consume news. But in this scenario, I am a member of the corporate communications team, and I can edit things here. So that's exactly what we'll do. We'll put this page into edit mode so I can show you how each of the news web parts here have been configured. This is the first news web part on the page. It's always above the fold, so the corporate communications team wants to heavily curate the stuff that shows up here. And to do that, they've leveraged our news organize capability. If I click on edit web part, and scroll down here, you can see that our news organize capability helps you pin specific news posts to specific locations in the web part. And you can imagine someone from Corp Comms comes in every week and refreshes the content that shows up here. This second news web part also shows important news, but perhaps tier 2 news compared to the news that's showing up in the first web part. Now, this web part pulls news from 5 important sites in the company, including Leadership Connection, as you can see here. And if I scroll down, you'll notice that audience targeting has been enabled for this web part. So what this means is when that manager training news post in the Leadership Connection site gets published, it is going to show up in this news web part. But because audience targeting has been set up for this news web part, only people that are part of the Contoso managers group are going to see that news post in this web part. In fact, let me give you another example of audience targeting on this site. Here I can see a news post called Remote Work Guidelines for North America Employees. It's because Megan, who I am signed in as, is an employee based in North America. In fact, if I switch browsers and show you Joni's view, she's also an employee in North America. She sees this same news post here. However, Nestor, who is an employee in Australia, does not see that North America news post. He sees the remote work guidelines for Australia employees. How did we make this work? Well, essentially, those two news posts, the guidelines post for North America and the guidelines post for Australia, had the right groups specified in them. And because this web part had audience targeting enabled, it's showing the relevant news post to the right audiences. Let's now look at the third news web part on this page. Now this one has source set to recommended for the current user. So this is showing Megan her personalized news view, pulling news from sites she works in, people she works with, etc. And this is a great place to see the visual distinction between organization news and other news. So news coming from the Contoso news site and the Leadership Connection site have this special visual highlighting behind the site name. This is because these two sites have been designated sources of organization news in the intranet, and whenever a news post is published in these sites, it shows up across the intranet with this special visual treatment. Now I'm going to go ahead and republish this page. So to recap, when a news post is published, it is distributed to folks that this news post is relevant for, and it rolls up across web parts in the intranet. On top of that, you can designate some sites to be authoritative sources of news. When you do that, when a news post is published in one of those sites, it is distributed broadly across the intranet and has this special visual treatment. And today, I'm excited to introduce you to another capability that allows you to give further preferential treatment to the topmost news posts in your organization. So to do that, let's actually go up here. Contoso has hired a new chief marketing officer. This feels like a pretty critical piece of news. So let's click in here. And you can see in the command bar, there is a boost option. Now, this option is only available to designated corporate communicators in the organization. When I click in, I have the option to enable boost for this news post. And what this does essentially is that it makes sure that this news post is available at the top of news feeds across the intranet for all users. And I can also specify how long this news post is boosted and based on what criteria. For example, it can stay boosted until this news post has been viewed by a user. It can be boosted until a certain number of absolute views have been reached, or for a specific period of time. You can also, of course, manage the order of other boosted items relative to this one. And when you're done, you can go ahead and hit save. I'd also like to point out that we've made it super easy for you to share your news posts to Yammer and Teams. We've added the new Teams and Yammer endpoints here, so you can just click into one of these and share to Yammer or Teams in just a few steps. So we've spent a chunk of time talking about how to author pages and news posts and how news is distributed. Let's now wrap this section up by talking a little bit about consuming news. So of course you can read news on the web, and you can also like and comment and add mention and create great engagement loops around it. And the SharePoint mobile app is a fantastic place to consume news on the go. And we've been working hard to reimagine what mobile performance can look like. Here I have a side-by-side. On the left, we have the latest version of the mobile app that we've been using internally that should be available in production by end of year. When I start playing, the page loads on both these versions at the same time. Notice that in the latest version, the load speed is about 4 times faster than that of the prior version. We are committed to making your intranet experience great across web and mobile. And so with that, I'll wrap up this first section. Back to you, Andy.
Thanks, Debjani. Debjani just showed how easy and fast it is to create great content and tell the stories you want to tell on your intranet. And she showed how you can be in control of your content with features like scheduling, audience targeting, and also distribute your news content across a variety of places on your intranet, across Yammer and Teams, and also how we're making the reading experience even better in the SharePoint mobile app. In this section, I'll focus on some of the key experiences, technologies, and tools that are available to you to create the sites on your intranet in order to help your employees connect with relevant information and content. Let's start by talking about home sites. A SharePoint home site is the landing experience for your intranet. It's a personalized and dynamic gateway to your organization, and you can pull together content from across Microsoft 365 to help put employee experiences together into one place. Home sites bring together news, content, events, video, and conversations, and they connect your workplace with intelligent search, rich navigation, and branding. Home sites are built on top of communication sites, so they're fast and easy to build. That can help you in the time to value that I talked about earlier, so your intranet project schedules can be faster and your resources can go further as you build it. A home site gets what we like to call superpowers that make it great for your landing experience. First off, search in the home site will be defaulted to tenant-wide search, so it's easy to use the power of Microsoft Search across your whole intranet in your home site. The home site is also set by default as a SharePoint organization news site so that the news you post here will get distributed across experiences in Microsoft 365 and get special visual indications as well that Debjani showed earlier. Third, the home site also gets a dedicated home button in the SharePoint mobile app to make it really easy for your users to get access to it. We're also announcing a few unique and new capabilities for home sites that I will talk about in a demo in a few minutes. I also encourage you to check out sessions 1061, which is a deep dive session on home sites. Next up are hubs, which help you organize and structure your intranet by linking related sites together into what best fits your organization. They're flexible so that as business goals or team structures evolve, you can quickly adapt to changes. When you make a site a hub, you get an experience for shared content, news, events, and activity that can be aggregated and rolled up from associated sites. You also get a way for hub owners to apply common navigation, theming, site structure, and permissions to the associated sites. Session 1058 is a great one to help you think about the overall design and architecture of your intranet. Next, I want to highlight some of the work we've done on the overall system capabilities to help you build your intelligent intranet. We know it's critical for customers to enable content on your intranets in different languages. This has been one of the most top requested items on our user voice, and we completed worldwide rollout of multilingual communication sites earlier this year. For multilingual, site owners can choose the languages you want in your site. You can assign translators to own the language translations, and you can create simple workflows around that process. And we've made it easier for translators to compare page versions and see changes easily with our visual versioning feature. Multilingual communication sites is a part of that overall content management system capabilities we've delivered to SharePoint, like audience targeting that Debjani talked about, content scheduling, and also content approvals. Speaking of audience targeting, that is another big system area where we continue to invest. This is all about enabling you to deliver the right content to the right people and groups in your organization, as Debjani showed earlier. In this area, we started with support for targeting news and in the highlighted content web part, and we've now expanded this to add support for audience targeting in both site and hub navigation. And we continue to expand the support driven by customer feedback, and we'll be rolling out support in the quick links web part as well. So with that, let me switch over to a demo. Okay, let's start by taking a look at the home site we have for Contoso Electronics, which is called The Landing. This is our company's overall intranet, landing experience. What I'm showing here is built using out-of-the-box capabilities in SharePoint, but Contoso could easily and powerfully extend this experience using the SharePoint framework. Also, this is just one example that we've been able to quickly and easily develop to show some of the art of what's possible. But this is really up to customers to make it what you need for your organization. I'm an editor on this site, so I get some additional command options up here, including translation, which I'm going to show you in a moment. First off, we have the ability to brand the site and make it reflect our organization's identity. There's a custom theme at the top, and you'll see that theme color is picked up elsewhere on our home site, including on the new extended footer we're using at the bottom of the page that I'll show you in a minute. Up top, we're using the mega menu for navigation, and we can organize and group related items. Over on the right side of the page, we're using a vertical section to make it easy to access some key information like local weather, local times and key locations where we operate, and links to employee resources. We also are showing video content right here on the main section of the page, and we're using a carousel to display even more content right here to our readers. We're able to show town halls and events right on our home site. Further down the page, we're able to show news content, different highlights of teams and individuals, and then we've got the Yammer Conversations web part right on the main page. So this brings the social aspect in, and it's a rich Yammer experience where I can like items in the feed, I can play inline video, and I can really interact with Yammer right here on the page. And then as I go down to the very bottom, there's that extended footer that I talked about. So we're able to group links, and we're able to have the theme of our site reflected at the bottom. So that's just a quick tour of the home site we built very quickly for the landing for Contoso. Again, this is an example, and you get to make it your own. I showed you the mega menu that we're using in the landing home site. What I want to show you now is audience targeting that we're using in our mega menu. As I scroll down at the bottom, you'll see that we have enable site navigation for audience targeting turned on. And if I go up to this area, you can see that these nodes, Seattle events and New York events, show that they're audience targeted. So we're able to make those available for people that work in Seattle and people who work in New York. Similarly, we're doing that for the sales and marketing organization. So people who work in sales will see these nodes, and people who work in marketing will see these nodes. I can also easily add an item to be audience targeted. So let's say I want this governance to only be available to full-time employees. So I just go into the edit of that navigation node, I pull up marketing FTE members, and I click OK. And now that has been added to be an audience targeted link that will only show up to full-time employees. I save that, and that's all I need to do to target audiences in our navigation. Next up, I want to show you our multilingual support. So I'll go in here, site information, and we've got a couple of languages already set up, and I'll show you how easy it is to set up a new language in our language settings. You'll see that we've got Spanish, the base language here is English, and then we've added Spanish and Japanese as well, and we've got translators assigned. So if I wanted to add, say, Italian, I would just add the language, I give you a picker, and I can say Adele will be responsible for this one. And that looks good. We want to expand, and so we'll add Italian, save that, go back in. And you remember that translation that I showed in the command bar? I'll go ahead and open that up again. And you'll see that we have Spanish and Japanese already published a couple of days ago, but the Italian that I just added as a language we want to support has not yet been done because I just added it. So I'll go ahead and create that version. And the draft has been saved. Now, what is kicked off in the back is that Adele will actually receive an email notification that that version is now available and that she's the translator for it, and she'll be able to see the English version and be able to translate it in Italian. She'll also be able to use that visual versioning feature that I talked about earlier to see what changes have already occurred. Really easy to set up, really easy to enable multilingual content. On the reader side, on the viewer side, it's also really easy to switch languages. So my base language for my user is English, but if I wanted to look at Japanese or Spanish, or even the Italian draft because I'm a site owner, I can do that. Easy way to look at new content. I'll go ahead and switch to Spanish. And you see there's our site translated to the Spanish version, super easy. Now you may have noticed a new element up in the navigation. Let me just switch back to English. And that's up here, that's called the SharePoint app bar. We're unveiling that for the first time. This provides an in-product solution for helping organizations with a branded and easily accessed solution for global navigation that works across your intranet. So here in Contoso Electronics, we've been able to put in the same links that we want on our landing page, and now they'll be available in any site that I'm on across our intranet. Also, as a user, I can get quick and easy access to my frequent sites, my followed sites, news content that's important and relevant to me. And this works across the intranet. So no matter where I am, this new SharePoint app bar will follow me and make available the organization links that are important, as well as my own personal content. This is a really cool new capability. We're excited to be working on it. We expect to roll it out later this year. So with that, let me switch back over to some slides, and I'll actually talk about how that SharePoint app bar is coming to Teams. Building on what I just showed with the SharePoint app bar, I'm really excited to also unveil and talk about the new Home Sites app in Microsoft Teams. We've been working to fully integrate SharePoint experiences into Teams, and this is another example of that work. With the Home Site app in Teams, you can seamlessly bring the power of your SharePoint Home Site portal experience, along with global navigation for your intranet and personal wayfinding for your users' most important sites, news, and content directly into Teams. This app icon and name matches your organization's brand and enables employees to discover, navigate, and consume your intranet's top sites directly in Teams. With the Home Site app, employees can easily stay informed and quickly share and discuss intranet content in channels and chat without ever having to leave Teams. Now, there are a couple additional key capabilities that add even more value to the range of intranet and site scenarios that we've covered. We continue to innovate with Microsoft Search to connect people to information, content, and answers. And we know how important search is to a range of scenarios, so this continues to be a big area of investment for us. And with Project Cortex, we're enabling new scenarios using AI to help deliver knowledge and expertise with topic pages that can be generated and curated by experts, and with our new Knowledge Center offering to connect people with topics of interest. And then, as I said earlier, we've been showing in this session what you can build with the out-of-box capabilities that we deliver in SharePoint, with Teams, Yammer, Stream, and across Microsoft 365. We also offer the SharePoint framework that can be used to build and extend these experiences for your intranet overall and across SharePoint, and now also in Teams. We've got a vibrant partner ecosystem and a powerful platform that can help you extend the capabilities that we provide. So let's bring this all together with a specific scenario where all of these capabilities can come together. And that's when you need to onboard new employees. You need to get new employees up to speed quickly, and the content and experiences on your intelligent intranet will help you do this. You want people to discover knowledge and expertise, and Project Cortex, Microsoft Search, and SharePoint all help you with this. And you want to share information and spark conversations, and Yammer and Teams can both help with this. And with that, I want to finish this section with one last quick demo about how we're helping you with that time to value that I've talked about a few times by showing new capability we'll be rolling out with SharePoint site templates. Debjani showed you the page templates that we've delivered to help authors quickly and easily create content with templates that we provide, as well as the ability for you to create your own page templates. We're now extending this to site templates as well. So I'll go ahead up here and navigate to site templates. Here's the new gallery for our site templates, and this includes one of the experiences that I just talked about, a new employee onboarding site template. I can go ahead and open this up and get a sense of what's built in, what the site features are, and get a beautiful visual representation. If I go back, I'll see also some of the other templates that we're working on to deliver, including for education customers and a number of other scenarios. This is really exciting and will be able for you to also extend to your own organization templates, and this is something we'll be rolling out later this year. And now let me hand back off to Debjani to take us through another key scenario area around engaging your employees through connecting with leadership. Debjani?
So in this last section, we're going to look at a specific scenario for engaging your employees, leveraging the capabilities of SharePoint that we've seen throughout this presentation together with Yammer and Stream. This particular scenario is leadership connection, which in a nutshell provides a way for employees to connect with the leaders at the company in a really authentic way. Your leadership connection solution on M365 provides a fantastic way to facilitate great two-way conversation between employees and the company leaders. It helps align everyone towards common goals. Employees get to communicate directly with leadership about company values, company strategies, and things that really matter, thus helping break down silos and barriers and helping employees feel empowered and engaged in their work life. One key component of leadership connection is Yammer. You should have a leadership connection community in Yammer that your whole company, including the leaders, are a part of. With the new Yammer, it's really easy to post questions, to start polls, to give praise, as well as engage in rich conversations with images and videos. In this leadership connection group, employees can ask questions directly to the leadership. They can give feedback directly. They can also talk with each other, thus creating this environment that's transparent and trusting. A Leadership Connection community is also a great way for leaders to get a pulse of the organization and identify key areas to focus on in future communications. Another really important part of Leadership Connection is Stream. Stream helps leaders host their company-wide town halls and live events. These videos are durable and they scale. Employees can tune into these live events in real time, or if they couldn't make it, they can catch up on demand in their mobile phones or the web. Stream provides a way to have a managed Q&A experience, and Stream supports a range of video events from casual webcasts just from your home to much more professionally produced broadcasts from a studio. And SharePoint brings all of this together in a single branded site that contains a Yammer web part, Stream embedded, SharePoint news, and other content, which is the single place employees can go to get the latest updates from their leadership. So let's jump in now and take a look at a Leadership Connection site. Here we are on Contoso's Leadership Connection site. We were here a while ago when I was publishing that news post for manager training, but now let's jump in and take a look at the site. Up here, you have the most important resources highlighted in a really visual way. Further down, we have a SharePoint news web part that's rolling up news from this site. In fact, this can serve as the blog from the leaders at the company. Leaders or their delegates can publish news not only about business updates and strategy updates, but also their thoughts on various matters. Further down, we have Stream. On the left here, we have an archive of past events that have taken place. And on the right, we have the latest monthly Q&A embedded directly in this site. Further down, we have a Yammer Conversations web part. Employees can react or jump into conversations directly from this web part. In fact, here you can see a poll. I can vote or click here to see how this poll is doing also directly from this site. The Leadership Connection site has other relevant information here, including a leadership events calendar. So this Leadership Connection site really brings in relevant content across M365 into this single site where employees know they can go to get consistent updates from their organization. And so as we wrap up our demos for today, I hope this example really demonstrated to you how SharePoint helps you build beautiful sites that have a real impact at your organization. And now we have some next steps for you. The first is go to the SharePoint Lookbook. This can be accessed at lookbook.microsoft.com. Andy mentioned earlier, we're making a few site templates available in product. Many of those templates and more are already available in the Lookbook for you to get inspired by and add to your tenant in just a few clicks. So go check it out today. Next, go to aka.ms/intelligent intranet. Here you'll find a handy end-to-end 4-stage approach for how you can transform your intranet. These 4 stages include envisioning your new intranet, aligning key stakeholders, implementing the solutions, and then engaging your employees in it. Third, go to sharepoint.uservoice.com and specifically to the Sites and Collaboration Forum. Please keep giving us your feedback. If there are ideas there that you like, upvote them. You can also feel free to add new ideas in the forum. We're listening intently. And here we have some additional resources for you. We hope you find these resources and today's session super helpful. Thank you for tuning in. Bye.